So maybe we won't say it out loud, but I do want you, as I'm talking, to contemplate what covers up your joy. What hides your joy from you? I'll give you some ideas. For me, a lot of times it's my thoughts, right? It's my mind that starts to worry or starts to plan and becomes unsure and uncertain and begins to doubt. If I'm feeling joy because I'm in connection with another person, maybe I start to doubt that connection. So your own mind, your own ego state may get in the way of your joy. Oh, and also our ideas about social sanctions, that we may feel this natural joy, but somehow we don't think we're supposed to express it. So, for example, several of you mentioned children. That children bring you joy. Now, why is that? Because they're transmitting joy, and that activates the joy within us. And children start out so pure that they don't have the same inhibitions socialized adults. But what are children expressing? Or where are they expressing it from? Would be a better way of wording the contemplation, the reflection. Are they getting the joy from you? Are they getting the joy from their videos and their cartoons? Are they getting the joy even from being out in nature? No. We don't get joy from anyone or anything external from us. So my question when I asked you what brings you joy was a sort of trick question, but with no malicious intention. That we like to think about those things, those activities, those adorable children who are external to us that bring us joy, as if they are the containers of the joy and they pour some of that into us. And maybe that's how you think it happens. That's how a lot of people think Reiki happens. Right? We're the container of the energy and we pour the energy into them. And that's what a lot of healers think they're doing. They think I'm pouring my energy into that person. Aren't I great? But that's not what's happening, is it? What's really happening is these external experiences are actually reflections of our own inner joy, our own natural state. Just like joy is the natural state of a child, what are we? We're just children in bigger bodies, right? It's the natural expression of the soul. It's our natural state. And so we're blessed by those beings and those experiences in the ocean and nature and our animals and our beloveds, because seeing them reminds us or activates that which is always within. I read a small book on meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh many, many years ago. I think the name of the book is called Meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh, but I don't actually remember. But the first line was happiness lies within. And the whole rest of the book was saying that the purpose of meditation is only to activate, enliven, become aware of that happiness, that joy. You know, we stop feeling joy, we don't feel joyous, and sometimes we can't even get in touch with any joy. And actually, sometimes even those things that would normally bring us joy may give us sorrow because we feel so bad about ourselves that we can't feel better. You know, we get mad at ourselves for not being able to feel better. We might even get mad at the ocean for not making us feel better. Right? And what's that about? So what I'm saying is that that is about those layers that we shroud on ourselves, in our vital self, our emotional self, our mental self, even our psychic being. All the doubts, all the fears, all the anxieties that we begin to identify with, they become me. That's me, the adult, right? The adult, the intelligent adult that knows the world's a mess. You know, I'm no longer that innocent, naive child that just greets everything with joy. Well, I'm smart now, all right? We lose that ability on our own to rekindle the joy. So we look externally. And of course, we also know that that external looking can actually lead us into great big trouble, right? It can lead us into addictions and various things. It can lead us into things that bring us temporary pleasure that's not joy, that mimics joy, but is not joy. And so anything external is never really the cause of our joy. It may be an activator of the joy within, just as when we give Reiki, it activates the love force within the other person. Unfortunately, a little bit for us as well, right? And so to me, this is the takeaway about joy, to remember that it is our natural state. Now we can call it joy, we can call it peace, we can call it bliss, we can call it ananda, we can call it tranquility. But underneath that is joy, or within it is joy. And it is your natural state and your natural right. And it's not the world that covers it up and takes it away. It's ourselves. We create our own knots, you know, we sew all this fabric to bind us with all our karmic knots. And so I'd like you to contemplate a little bit on first, or right now, what are the emotions that bind your joy? What are the emotions that bind it? Emotions such as grief. And grief's an interesting one, though, right? Sometimes it's actually very much paired with joy, isn't it? So we have a joy in remembering that one who we grieve. Even the grief can trigger the joy within that we feel in the knowing of that being. Sometimes it even triggers the joy of knowing that that being has now transcended, is in another pure state. But then there are emotions like anger and frustration and irritation. Those are big joy clouds, right? Huge joy clouds, totally useless emotions for being in our own state. And then there's shame, embarrassment. It's big. It's really big. That shame cloud is huge. I shouldn't be this way. I'm not worthy. It's a big cover. Sometimes it's like a rain cloud that's so dense, the sun could just never penetrate it. So we start looking outward, and we'll take whatever we can get to feel just a little bit better. Any kind of facsimile of joy, a drug, food, bad TV, bad novels, bad company. But anything that makes us feel a little less ashamed, a little less unworthy. Just as I asked you, what triggers your joy? What triggers your shame, your sorrow, your anger, your hatred? And then remember that all of that is still just a reflection of you, of those clouds that you put around yourself that cover all those things that piss you off, right? What are they doing? They're activating a state within you that is not your true state. They're really illusory. They're not real. Because all those covers are not real. There is only one true state. But again and again and again, we wrap ourselves in these clouds. And so, yes, if we want to look outward to those children that we love, to those pets that we adore, to nature, to our gardens, to our creativity, to remind us of what we really are, absolutely, it's wonderful. But to remember that it's not in anything external. And so, ideally, it's just as simple as what Madas was saying at the beginning, slowing down, pausing, finding the space between the thoughts and the emotions, finding the true self behind the clouds, underneath the tightly woven cloth of our external self, and coming back into unity with the child within. Not just the child, the soul within, to find our free being and our free expression, self. And knowing the self as the beloved, not depending on the external beloved for that knowing. And actually, that frees us to be even more loving.